A sword no one could pull. A boy who became a king. A kingdom of honor, betrayal, and magic. Was King Arthur a real ruler or only a legend? Tonight, we uncover the truth of the greatest story ever told. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you see it? A land shrouded in mist, where the veil between worlds is thin and frayed. You can almost hear the clash of steel, the whisper of ancient magic carried on the wind, and at the center of it all, a sword glowing with a light that seems to come from another world. This is the Britain of legend, the Albion of our deepest dreams. The story does not begin in a palace with the fanfare of royal trumpeters. It begins in obscurity, in the quiet corners of a kingdom fractured and leaderless. Uther Pendragon, the great king, is dead, and Britain is tearing itself apart. The realm cries out for a savior. The people pray for a sign, a miracle to deliver them from the encroaching darkness. In the heart of Londinium, their prayers are about to be answered. A young boy named Arthur lives unaware of the grand destiny that awaits him. He is a squire, not a lord, a servant, not a prince. Raised by the noble Sir Ector, he knows nothing of his true parentage. A tournament is called to find the strongest knight. Sir Kay forgets his sword, and Arthur scrambles to find a replacement. In a quiet churchyard he sees it, a magnificent sword embedded in a great stone anvil. Whoso pulleth out this sword of this stone and anvil is rightwise king born of all England. Without thought for prophecy, driven by duty to his brother, Arthur approaches the stone. He grips the hilt, and with an ease that defies all logic, the sword slides free. The world holds its breath. The moment the sword leaves the stone, everything changes. The boy becomes a king. Arthur, once no one, is revealed as the chosen one, his destiny made manifest by impossible strength and divine will. The nobles, the knights, are forced to their knees, their disbelief turning to awe and then to allegiance. This single magical act unites a fractured land under a new banner. The age of Arthur is at hand. No king, no matter how destined for greatness, can build a kingdom alone. Standing in the shadows behind Arthur's throne, a figure of immense power and mystery watches over the young king. He is a whisper in the dark, a mentor, a magician. He is Merlin. More than just a wizard with a long white beard, Merlin is the architect of this new age, the grand strategist who has guided events from the very beginning. He is a creature of two worlds, born of a mortal woman and an ethereal being, giving him the sight to see the past, the present, and the winding, treacherous paths of the future. He is both Arthur's greatest asset and the keeper of his most dangerous secrets. Merlin's guidance is the bedrock upon which Arthur's reign is built. Was he a real historical figure, perhaps a powerful druid, or a revered Celtic bard whose wisdom became legendary? Or is Merlin purely symbolic, the personification of ancient pre-Christian wisdom and the mystical forces of the land itself? Ultimately, Merlin's role is one of tragic foresight. He can see the glorious rise of Camelot, but he can also see the seeds of its destruction being planted. Merlin, the architect of a dream, is also the first witness to its inevitable, heartbreaking end. With Merlin's counsel and Arthur's vision, a new capital is born. It is more than a fortress. It is a symbol, a beacon of hope in a dark world. It is Camelot. Imagine its white towers piercing the clouds, its golden banners shimmering in the sunlight. It is a city built not just of stone and mortar, but of ideals. It represents a dream of a world governed by justice, honor, righteousness. In Camelot, the strong protect the weak, and the law applies equally to all. At the very center of this grand citadel lies another, even more powerful symbol, the Round Table. At a round table, there is no head, no foot. Every knight who takes a seat is equal in the eyes of the king and in the eyes of his brothers. Rank and birthright are left at the door. Here, only valor, loyalty, and honor matter. The Knights of the Round Table are the pillars of Arthur's new order. Sir Lancelot, Sir Galahad, Sir Bedivere, Sir Percival, Sir Gawain. They ride out from Camelot on quests to slay monstrous beasts, rescue the helpless, and overthrow cruel tyrants. They are the instruments of Arthur's will, spreading his code of chivalry and transforming a brutal, lawless land into a kingdom of grace and order. This idea of Camelot and the Round Table has resonated through centuries. It represents a perfect, unattainable ideal. It is a beautiful, fragile dream, and like all beautiful dreams, it is destined to be shattered by the harsh realities of the waking world. This is where fellowship is forged, and where, when it fractures, a kingdom will fall. Just as the dream of Camelot reaches its zenith, a new purpose electrifies the court, a calling that transcends earthly battles. A vision appears to the knights, a ghostly sacred chalice veiled in white light, promising divine grace. They vow to abandon worldly duties and embark on the quest for the Holy Grail. Arthur watches with a heavy heart, knowing it will scatter his fellowship. Knights ride out from Camelot, alone in pair, into the wasteland, a cursed, blighted realm. They face monsters, sorcerers, and inner demons. Temptations test their chastity, their humility, their devotion to God. The quest strips them bare, forcing them to confront their souls. For most, the quest ends in failure. Sir Lancelot is denied the ultimate prize. His love for Guinevere makes him unworthy. He glimpses the Grail but is left broken. Only the truly pure succeed. The Grail is achieved by Sir Galahad, Sir Percival, Sir Bors. Galahad, Lancelot's son, epitomizes purity. Upon finding the Grail, he is taken up into heaven. The quest's success marks the beginning of the end for the Round Table. The best are gone. Returnees are weary and disillusioned. Camelot's spiritual glue dissolves, leaving a void of doubt and betrayal. While the noblest knights were away chasing spiritual phantoms, a more earthly and insidious poison was seeping into the foundations of Camelot. The love between Sir Lancelot, Arthur's greatest knight and dearest friend, and Queen Guinevere had blossomed from a secret admiration into a passionate, all-consuming affair. Mordred, a knight with a dark and complicated past, sees the affair not as a tragedy, but as an opportunity. He forges letters declaring Arthur slain and seizes the crown. One fateful night, Mordred and a dozen knights spring their trap, catching Lancelot in the Queen's chambers. The ensuing battle is brutal and bloody. Lancelot, the world's greatest fighter, cuts his way through his accusers and escapes, but the damage is done. Arthur, bound by his own laws, is forced to act. His heart is broken, not only by his wife's infidelity, but by the betrayal of the man he loved like a brother. He has no choice but to condemn his queen to be burned at the stake for treason. Lancelot cannot allow Guinevere to die. He returns with his followers and rescues the queen, but in the process he slays several of his fellow knights, including the unarmed brothers of Sir Gawain. This act transforms Gawain's love for Lancelot into a burning, unquenchable hatred. Arthur, urged on by the vengeful Gawain, is forced to pursue Lancelot to France, leaving his kingdom vulnerable. The shadow of betrayal gives way to open warfare. Mordred declares himself king, forces Guinevere to flee and barricade herself, and prepares to rule a land he will rule by fear. Arthur must race back to Britain to reclaim his throne and save his kingdom from his traitorous son. The first battle of this new civil war is fought on the very shores of Britain, and the losses are staggering. The final apocalyptic confrontation is set for the plain of Camlann. As the dust settles over the bloody field of Camlann, a question that has haunted us for centuries: was any of this real? If we strip away the magic, the prophecies, the romance, do we find a historical figure? There is no definitive contemporary account that names a King Arthur at Camelot. The silence in the record is deafening. The late 5th to early 6th century is called the Dark Ages for a reason. Roman legions withdrew, Britain plunged into chaos, invasions from Anglo-Saxons, Picts, Scots. What we do have are later Welsh poems and chronicles such as the Y Gododin and the Historia Brittonum. They mention a Dux Bellorum named Arthur. Not a king, but a Romano-British commander who led victories against the Saxons. Camelot would not have been a fairy tale castle, but a fortified hill fort. Sites like Cadbury Castle and Tintagel are named in the tradition of Arthurian associations. His knights would have been an elite warband of horse-mounted soldiers, a remnant of Roman cavalry traditions, a symbol of Celtic resistance rather than courtly romance. The legend of King Arthur is a magnificent tapestry woven from many different threads. At its core, there may have been a real British war leader. Over the centuries, bards, poets, from Geoffrey of Monmouth to Sir Thomas Malory, embroidered the story with Celtic mythology, Christian allegory, and French courtly romance. Arthur the man may have lived and died, but Arthur the myth became immortal, a vessel for the hopes and ideals of every generation that tells his story. So, where does this leave us? The search may never fully answer whether he was king or warlord, but the legend endures. The Battle of Camlann rages until twilight, a storm of steel and sorrow. At the end of it all, only two figures remain standing amidst the carnage: King Arthur, Mordred. They fall together, the dream of a kingdom dying with them. Take Excalibur and return it to the lake. Twice Bedivere hesitates, but on the third command he obeys. He hurls the sword into the dark water. A hand, the Lady of the Lake, emerges. It brandishes Excalibur 3 times, then draws the sword beneath the surface. A black barge arrives. They lift the wounded king and bear him away to the Isle of Avalon. Legend says Arthur will return when Britain needs him most. Was he a man or a myth? The truth may be waiting beneath the mist.